Hello, everyone, and welcome to our show. A triple welcome, actually, because it's not only me and not only Mike, but also Vivian Kirkpatrick Pilger, and she's got a name long enough to fill that triple bill. Hello, everybody.
Hey Dale, how's it going?
Well, it's going okay for me. How's it going for you, Vivian?
Oh, now you have to turn your mic on.
Well, you guys told me to turn it off.
Yes, I told you to turn it off because at the start of the show, and this is the part that no one is supposed to ever know about. But
It's the secret part.
Couldn't figure it out. I have to tell everybody that everybody mutes their mics except for Dale at the beginning of the show, and then we turn them on.
Okay. Right, because the camera automatically switches to you whenever you make a noise.
That's the whole reason for it. Sorry about that, Vivian. But you were engrossed in conversation with somebody else who's more important than us, and that is inexcusable.
Well, I think it was Bill Hunker, and if it was Bill Hunker, he's a pretty important guy. No, it wasn't Bill Hunker, and that's what I was trying to say.
Bill Gina.
Oh, Bill Gina. I like Bill Gina.
Yeah, except he's not on the show at the moment. He doesn't have a mic.
Well, that's because he hasn't stuck his head in there.
Yeah.
Say hi to Bill for me. Hello, Bill Gina.
Right. See, we all got headsets, so.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So that's how you can tell who we are. Well, except for Mike, but yeah, I'm Mickey. So.
So why is Vivian here?
Yeah, and where are you, Vivian? You're not actually here. You're somewhere else.
I'm broadcasting from the Josephine County Republican headquarters at 513 Northeast 6th Street, across from the county courthouse.
Now, the other two of us are webcasting. You go ahead and broadcast. And
old school.
Now, Vivian is at Republican headquarters. You may recall that they were nice enough, because neither Mike nor I are Republicans or Democrats or any other goofy thing, and we came. She didn't even make a noise, and the camera went to her. We were there for the live coverage, which we hope to do again, of the last election. And they were very welcoming to us. They even sang us a little song. It was nice, one that they made up completely spontaneously on the spot. I think it was called God Bless America. And now Vivian is there. What are you doing at Republican headquarters, which I already know, but it's the leading question. Go ahead.
Well, last night I was here. Tonight I'm not doing it because I'm talking with you guys, but last night I was here making automated, well, there's a system they have that automatically makes phone calls for you, and it calls a person, and then when they pick up the phone, you have a little script, and you say, hi, and you tell them a little bit, ask them if they know about the sales tax, and if they don't, then you tell them a little bit about it, and then sometimes that reminds them that, actually, yeah, they had heard of that. And then they go on from there, and you ask them if they know that it can be raised at any time without public input, without a vote. Most people don't know that, by the way. And they say no. And then you ask them if the vote were held tonight, how would you vote on that? And probably 99% of them say they'd vote no on it.
Oh, really?
I only had 2 people out of 60 last night that said that they probably might vote yes.
Wow. I would be interested in knowing, in call center things that have happened in the past, how closely does the percentage of answers that you get like that reflect the actual vote?
Right.
You're asking me hard questions.
That's
I don't
a
know.
good question, though, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, answer the question,
That's why I asked
Patrick Pilcher. Just answer that
I
question.
don't know the answer.
Oh, brother. She's on here. Why is she on here?
Well, so far, according to Vivian, we got about an 80-20 slam dunk here.
Well, out of 60
going
calls,
with that.
I could ask around the other people we have different rooms in here, so it's not all a big noisy mess. And so they were nice enough to give me my own little private office out here.
No, we'll stick with our own big noisy mess. We're okay.
Okay.
All right, so let's ask her other embarrassing questions. Mike, are there people like me who don't like to be called?
Oh, yes, there was one gentleman who did not appreciate being called, and he hung up on me.
Oh, well, I'm not like, well, I did to somebody earlier today. Mike, I got my 3rd phone call from the guy that says, hello, I'm with Microsoft, Vinning Center or whatever.
Yes.
They're always saying that they're calling from Microsoft and they're here to solve my problems. And one of these days I'm going to get engaged with this guy. Not that kind of engaged, but I'm going to talk to him and I'm going to say, look, you need to find a new job. I mean, this is
Yes,
cheating.
really.
Don't be calling people.
Don't you have any
India.
self-respect? Come
Yeah,
on.
well, okay, he wants a job. He probably lives in India. You know, they're getting these phone calls probably underwritten by their government, but they're cheaters and liars, and we got those here.
Yeah.
I fell victim to that once.
Hey.
You
Yeah.
did?
Yeah.
Did you send them money to fix your computer?
Oh, yes, I did.
Uh-oh.
It was several years ago, and I had gotten a new computer, and it was having all kinds of weird things go on with it. And then someone called me and says, "We're calling about the problems that are going on in your computer." And I thought, oh, they know.
How would they know?
That is funny. Yeah, you know what? Because undoubtedly, at any given time, a lot of people are having problems with their computer.
That's a good bet.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they
That's
hit
fun.
me at the right time.
Okay,
Oh, no.
so we're having problems with the sales tax in Grants Pass, and I was in the hallway with Goodwin, Jim Goodwin, the other day. We mentioned this a couple of days ago to you, and we were just talking about stuff in general, waiting to get in to the commissioners' meeting because nowadays they like to wait till the very last moment, open the door just as they're beginning to talk, which of course means it's harder for me to tape it so that you can see what these rascals are up to. And so I'm sitting out there in the hallway with Jim Goodwin, and we started talking about the sales tax because Jim Goodwin is one of the hard chargers on this. He and let's see, this other guy's photo is on the wall of Republican headquarters. Never could figure out why. What's the name of that counselor that is just a die-hard supporter of every tax that comes along, yet purports to be a good Republican? Boy, that name just skips by me. Vivian?
Would you like me to go and read you all the names? Because there's several of them out there.
Roy Lindsay. Okay, so I'm talking with.
Okay.
Isn't he what, a rhino? Yes. I'm talking.
Well, I said his picture's up here. I don't know whose pictures are up here.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
funny.
So I'm talking with Jim Goodwin, and I said, "So Jim, what are you going to do when this tax fails?" He didn't really like exactly the way I phrased that, but he said, "Well, what makes you think it's going to fail?" And I said, "Do you believe that it's popular?" And he said, "Well, we knew that the business community would be against it." I said, "A sales tax?" Uh-huh. And I said, did you anticipate that the Chamber of Commerce would come out strongly against it? Pretty much. And I said, and the people who oppose new taxes, all those no new taxes signs? Well, yeah. And I said, and other community leaders like Vivian Kirkpatrick Pilger? And he said, I don't know who that is. But I said, no, he didn't. So I said, he said, well, why are you against it? And I said, well, Mike did an interview with the mayor. Mike, tell him what the mayor said to you, bud.
Well, and it's funny because I was just digging around in there. I couldn't remember the date when we were doing that, and I was looking for that little piece of that interview. Essentially, what happened was we were out on the street. I got to talk to the mayor for a couple of minutes. The audio is real bad on this. However, you can distinctly hear that I asked him, what are you going to do if, 6 months into this sales tax being implemented, the half of the businesses down here are either going out of business or are headed in that direction?
That's a paraphrase.
Yes, of course. And he said that, well, we'd probably keep it going for another year, maybe two.
What?
And see what happens.
We're out.
Yes, right, exactly. And I think personally, probably what they would do is just redefine it. See, now they have it narrowed down to a certain number of retailers, and then they would just begin expanding the tax into other, realms there, so that they could gain more money. I mean, that's how this sort of thing goes. And here's the unfortunate part about this. Despite what they say, it is going to be a permanent tax. And as sales taxes know from all of us who have come here from California, fleeing the tyranny of California, is that sales taxes never go down, but they always go up.
So, Vivian, tell us more about what you're doing there, the kind of successes you're having. List for us your failures. Tell us all about what's going on at Republican headquarters.
I have no failures, Dale.
Yes, good answer. Good answer.
It's not an option, huh? Okay, I hear you.
Except that one guy that said, "Good night, bang." And hung
well,
up
that's
on
not
me
a failure. That's not a failure, because what happened there was you were able to move on to the next person quicker.
Oh,
yes.
I like that attitude.
Good for you. That's a win.
So Vivian, if people could hear the folks behind you, it would sound like one of those phone banks. So tell us what kind of things are going on all around you live from Republican headquarters.
Well,
Please.
I left my script somewhere. I forgot to bring my script, but it's sort of like, hello, my name is so and so. Is this so and so? Because it has their name right on the screen, and it's calling Democrats and Republicans and Independents. It's calling everyone, not just Republicans. And you say, is this so and so? And they say yes or no or whatever, and then you tell them your name. My name is such and such. I'm calling with the Josephine County Stop the Sales Tax PAC or something like some verbiage like that. And then you say, have you heard of the sales tax? And if they say yes, down on the lower part of the screen, you can click these little boxes that yes, they've heard of it, yes, they answered the phone, or no, they didn't, or whatever. And then you ask them if they know it can go up at any time, and they usually will tell you, oh, no, I didn't know that. Most of them don't know that can actually happen. And there was one saucy little man who said, yes, I knew that could happen. He sounded like he was going to vote for it, but he was like, yes, I knew that could happen. So I said, okay, and would that bother you? No, that wouldn't bother me. And I said, well, it would bother me. He goes, what? That's up to you. And so,
you know who this person that you were talking to sounds like? It reminds me of who was the gal on
Lily Tomlin.
Lily Tomlin, yes, that's it. One ringy dingy.
Two ringy dingy.
Yeah.
Okay, so just so that everybody out there knows, we have given lots of time to the other side on this. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite stories, oh no, not another story. One of my favorite stories is when I was posting this on a Facebook site, because we post on several so people know what's going on. There's no money in it for us. And I put up 3 in a row of city councilors that are arguing in favor of the tax. No problems. Then I put up Lily Morgan, not Lily Tomlin, Lily Morgan, who was against. Okay, that's 3-1. And they just, we can't let this guy post anymore. Well, that's just horrible. It's 3-1. What's your problem? No, we don't think that that's the right thing. Hey, wait a minute.
You have to have Americans. 5-0.
We're already Americans. We can accept the fact that there are other points. No, we can't. It has to be banned for all time. What is your problem? Okay, so Vivian, go into your thing. You won't have a script in front of you, but tell us your information, and Mike and I will give you tart responses. Let's do it.
Yes.
Okay. Hello. Is this Dale Matthews?
Yes, this is.
Hi, my name is Vivian. I'm calling from the Republican headquarters with the Stop the Sales Tax PAC, and we were wondering if you had heard about the sales tax.
I've heard something about it. There's going to be some kind of sale. It's going to help law enforcement, won't it? I like that idea.
Well, yes, it'll be on the ballot in November, and it'll be a 2% sales tax on a lot of things that you buy, such as fast food and unprepared foods is off their list. It's prepared foods and all kinds of things that there's a list down at City Hall you can get to find out what's going to be taxed, or it's online, I believe. And but just to let you know that they can change that at any time. They can they have what's called a list of exemptions right now, people who are, or things that are exempt from the tax, and they can take them off that list and put them on the oh yes we can tax list anytime they feel like it.
Well, wait a minute. They would have to go through some kind of vote of the people in order to add these things on, right?
No, they don't have to go to the people. They don't have to have a public hearing. They don't have to do anything. According to the information that they have given out, all they have to do is just do it. They don't have to ask. It has to go through no voting process, no public hearing. They just do it.
What?
And yeah.
They
And
don't have to go through any. Wait a minute.
I've never heard this before.
No, what do you mean they don't have to go through any kind of public hearing? Well, oh, I remember now. We're getting, this should be good for me. We're getting rid of 2 different taxes, and I vote to get rid of taxes. So can I choose to just get rid of all the taxes, or do I have to get rid of 2 and add on 1? That's confusing to me.
well, it's 2 taxes. It's $1.79 for the public safety levy, but that's going to expire in 2018 anyway. And then there's one that's going to expire actually a day before this tax, a day before the vote, and that's the one that is on your sewer or water bill, depending on whether what they have it on for you. And that's a different tax. It's $1 something, and so both of those are taking off, even though they're both going to expire. They're going to take those off, and then they're going to charge you this 2% sales tax instead, which, of course, if you've ever lived in California, let me tell you, once you have a sales tax, you will always have a sales tax, and it will never go down. As a matter of fact, at the very first meeting at the city council I went to, the sales tax at that point was 1.75, and after the 1.75, the next thing I heard was, oh, it's 2%, and I'm out telling people, wow, they're going to have 1.75 sales tax. Well, it went really quickly up to 2%. I thought that was amazing, and that was before it even went on the ballot. So
wait, I'm a little confused. You said that part of it would expire. You mean we're voting to expire something that's going to expire on its own?
Yes.
That's not a vote. That's
well,
like voting to change the weather.
Yes, but someone I know took it to court, and I wonder who that was. And actually, the judge said that they could do that, so that's what they're doing.
Well, do you have any questions for Mike? Mike is my domestic partner. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh,
yes.
I know Mike's wife.
Oh man! Yeah, thank you very much, Vivian. That was good. Crying out loud.
If Mike were your domestic partner.
Rumors like that out there. No, I don't have any questions because I know exactly what this is. And, some would say, hey, listen, you're going to save money because I have property in the city and I pay, pretty hefty taxes on that. And they say that I'll be paying less in the way of taxes. However, I'm in the commercial real estate business, and if the cost of living goes up in Grants Pass, if the economy becomes less in Grants Pass, that ultimately is going to affect my bottom line. I don't want to have a building full of empty units, and so I need to be able to appeal to people to rent here commercially, and that depends on the economy doing well and growing. And if we're going to slap a 2% sales tax on it, a lot of the vendors that we spoke to downtown told us that, things are just starting to turn around now. Things are just starting to become better. They're not crazy. They're not taking off or anything, but they're just starting to become better. So now that is existing, the city council wants to jump on that horse, and they're all going to pile on it at one time and break its back.
Isn't that wonderful?
Well, one could say the baby is just starting to walk, so let's get him a job. Load him up with bricks.
Yes. Or let's start taxing his income.
Can I add something here?
Sure.
No. Yes, we have you as a guest. Please do.
Oh, yes. Well, we could use some more callers down here because between 6 and 8, a lot of people have home things that they like to do. So it's tough to get people to come down between 6 and 8 p.m., but that is when most people are home also. So that's the hours that we try to call. And so if you would like to volunteer to be a caller, it's a very simple process. You just need a laptop and possibly your cell phone, and bring it on down here and we'll set you up. You should be a Republican, but if you're not, we could make an exception if you really hate this tax, the idea of this tax. And you can be an independent, or you can be declined to state, or one of those people.
Well, I would suggest to you, Ms. Kirkpatrick Pilger, that if you're going to accept people in the party who don't act like Republicans and vote for every tax that comes along, you could make room for people who do act like Republicans, even if they're not.
Yeah,
yes. Also, we have yard signs that are available that say, if you can see this big giant sign behind me, it says "Stop the Sales Tax." I think that's a 4-foot by 8-foot one, but we actually have smaller versions of that for your yard, and you can pick them up at Sunshine Natural Foods at 128 Southwest H Street. And Rob Pell has a number of them, and he would like to give them to you for your yard, or if you own land somewhere that you'd like to put it on. So if you would like one of those, go to Sunshine Natural Foods, or if you'd like to help us call, come on down here to the Republican headquarters at 513 Northeast 6th Street, across from the courthouse. I was going to say the clubhouse.
Right across from the courthouse. They're in that building that looks like it's a battery. It's a copper top to it, kind of. Yeah. Yes, that's right. You got to do like this when you, it's like we were both doing there.
Yeah, that's copper top. This is my hands are all scrunched up or something, and
oh no, this is I'm playing the piano or on the computer. It's a joke. Yeah,
it does say Republican headquarters across the top of it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's good. And now, it has a copper roof. That's very identifiable.
It does. It's the only one in the area that does, as far as I know. I was criticized the other day. Someone says, "Well, you shouldn't be criticizing Republicans. You're not even a Republican." And so my response was, well, if a dog growls at you and bites you, you cannot comment about it unless you're a dog. I just had to put that in. I thought it was fairly witty. It's about as good as it ever gets from me.
Well, if anybody wants to volunteer or get a sign, they can also contact me. Now, I probably shouldn't give my phone number out over the air.
Probably not. Yeah.
How about my email?
Okay.
If you want.
Okay, well, they can go on Josephine County Politics and contact me too. That's on Facebook.
It's a Facebook site. It's a Facebook site. We've been telling you about these Facebook sites. If you want to know what's happening.
Dale feels like he's talking to people who just landed on Earth, you know.
Well, there are a number of people.
He doesn't go to those.
No, I never did before. I never did. I wasn't interested. I thought they were too caustic. But as it turns out, if you want to know what's happening.
He likes being caustic.
Just a couple of days ago, people want to know, yesterday, people wanted to know what was happening with the bomb threat at RCC. Well, you're not going to find out by calling the police department. I tried that. Good luck. Or the sheriff's department, or the county commissioners, or almost anywhere. The TV stations, they didn't. I was telling them details. What you need to do is, before we come on at 7, because we can't be on every hour of the day. Okay. Before we come on at 7, you go to Facebook and you're going to find true information.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Can you read it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it looks like. Josephine County Politics.
True information and false information. You can find both, but then you'll have to wait. But okay, you watching TV. Maybe you read the Courier. I don't know why. You got to filter out that stuff too.
Yeah, you know what? I think last night's show actually is about a 24-hour record for us because it has 780 something views on it right now. That's amazing.
I was one of those.
Were you? Oh, okay.
Thank you. We'll give her one 780th applause. Thank you, Vivian. Thank you for. Well, look, and we didn't tell anybody we were doing that. Now, how could we tell anybody we were doing that? But they all assumed, correctly, that we were going to be covering the story. Of course, we're going to cover the story because the Courier doesn't even print on Monday. They've got a nice after-action report that should be 100% correct because the story's all over. But they still didn't include the details that we did. I happened to be there talking with, not there, but on the phone talking with the head of their safety committee at the moment this thing was called in, and she was just telling me about how they had no plans to change anything about their procedures. Really? Well, anyway, that's another story.
Can I bring up another story?
Please,
Sure.
please do.
Okay, yeah. President Obama wants to visit Roseburg.
Yes.
And the people in Roseburg are very angry, and the police chief said, "We don't want you here." And literally, he did that online. And if you've been reading Facebook today, it's just all over the place. And there's one particular place where almost every state in the United States have complimented Roseburg for telling Obama to get lost for that, because he's using it as he's politicking on the bodies of their children.
Wow.
So,
yes,
yeah,
I have seen that. I also saw I guess it was the publisher of their newspaper was on Bill O'Reilly's show last night saying that exact thing. And we may well be taking a ride up there on Friday if there is an organized event. I have feelers going on up there in Roseburg right now, and those people are going to contact me and tell me if anything is organized is going to be going on. If there is some sort of an event, we will go to it.
I will go.
Okay. What I heard was he is not going to be seen in public, especially not with a bunch of angry people, that are, corralling up around him.
That's just smart politics.
Yeah,
He's
no, it's not going to happen.
United States, yes.
But he will
I think
probably he will probably visit with parents of the victims and people who are currently in the hospital, things like that. I suspect that is going to happen.
Well, okay,
And,
so to speak to that point, I would not want to see the President of the United States, no matter who it is, go to some place and do nothing but stand up and have the crowd applaud for him or whatever he thinks they're going to do. I would appreciate the fact if any President of the United States, even the dead one, were to show up and talk, especially we're impressed by that, if he were to show up and talk with the people and, hey, we're thinking about you and the rest of this kind of stuff, I'd want him to do that and not play to the cameras. So There you go.
Well,
I think they should be ready for him at that hospital where the people are, and just form a line around the hospital of, "We don't want you here." That would be kind of fun too.
Well, you know what though? I mean, this is an interesting thing because I saw this discussed this evening as well, and he could go there and not talk on camera about gun control or anything like that, and then he can leave there. And then he can use that in an event saying, "I talked to those people and blah, 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 blah. We need to have gun control." See, it doesn't have to be at this place. So regardless, I think most of the people who understand who Obama is knows that if he comes here at some point, it will be political.
Well, and let's also think about what happened down in New Orleans. Who got blamed for what president got blamed for not even going to New Orleans?
Yes, right, exactly. He got blamed for flying over, but I think that was a calculated decision because had he brought his plane to the ground and had a motorcade tying up resources on the ground to provide security for him, it would have been an even bigger deal. So
absolutely the case. Now, this is a show about politics. Let's be political realists about this. It does make some kind of sense, and if you have an agenda, which of course the president does, no matter who the president is, they're going to try to advance their agenda, not on the corpses of dead children kind of stuff. See, that's a family show, but to use that to advance whatever his theory is about what to do. Of course he's going to do that. Of course he's going to.
We are going to study this in depth on the program here at some point this week, and we are going to play very compelling videos from both sides of this debate. So if you're anti-gun, you're going to love it. If you're pro-gun, you're going to hate the anti-gun ones, and vice versa. this is how it's going to work, because we're going to play both sides of it, and then
Twice.
we're going to comment.
Four
Yes.
different videos, at least four
Yeah.
videos, both showing both sides, and a special message. This is none of our viewers, but a special message to those who will not tolerate listening to any other side. Really? Come on now. We're Americans.
Listen, at the very least, you should know what the opponent argument is for anything that you're doing.
Speaking of that, which is a very nice segue, Mike. Vivian, what are the opponent's arguments in favor of this sales tax? You need to know that. I know that you do. Please lay out what their arguments are.
Well, their arguments are usually along the lines of, well, we need to do something. And something, if it's a sales tax, is something to fund our law enforcement. And I remind them that this is not going to fund a sheriff. It's going, and they've already got funding in place for a very well-funded police department in the city of Grants Pass.
Mm.
And so I remind them of that, and that's the one that's going to expire in 2 years. But ever since I've been here, everybody votes. The people in the city of Grants Pass always vote that into effect. This is the $1.79 one that they're going to take off. And I sincerely expect that they'll be putting that back on the ballot again, even though it will expire in 2 years.
Well, I'm upset. I'm sorry, Mike, but I'm upset about the fact that although I wouldn't agree with them, I live in the city. I didn't vote for a property tax for this, but if I voted for that property tax, and more or less right after that happened, I had the city council say, we're going to negate your vote. What? What do you mean you're going to negate my vote? What's the word? Revoke? We're going to revoke your vote. You are? Who gives you the power to do that? And we're going to use it to get something that we really want. Now, wait a minute. That was a free and fair vote that was taken, and my side lost, your side won, and now you're going to revoke that vote? Who are you guys?
Yeah. Well, and there is one other thing important to note about this. They wouldn't be going for this sales tax if they weren't planning to get more money from it. I believe that they're getting about 1.5 million now, or I'm sorry, or they're getting 5 million now. That's what they're getting, and they plan on getting 8, is what I heard.
So speaking of building on the backs,
in other words, they're getting a couple of million more.
They're building on the backs of the people who voted for this sincerely and saying, you know what, that's not enough. So we're going to revoke your vote. We're going to revoke your vote, and so then we're going to get even more money, and no matter what the judge says, it's permanent. Oh, that's what they really want. Now, wait a minute. What about the process? Look, I always expect politicians and most everyone except for our viewers to be making mistakes, right? Okay, I get that. But don't trample all over the vote that we took. That reminds me of some of the people I've already discussed on this show who don't like the vote and want to revoke some vote that they didn't care about. And so, speaking of that, how difficult was it within Republican ranks of the Republican Central Committee to convince most of your people there, Vivian, to oppose this this sales tax? And why did it take you so long?
I believe she's having a conversation with someone else right now.
Yes.
Even though she's on our program.
I have another code. Yeah, can you just write it down for me? Okay, thanks.
Good golly.
Yes,
I'm
for
sorry.
crying out loud.
There are other people here.
She's on TV in the middle of an interview. You don't bug her.
Rudely on the show. My gosh.
I'm here with other people, you know.
Yes,
right. With another person.
I know. They're not on the show though.
Yes.
They don't understand.
Right, and ask them to respect that, for crying out loud.
That's right. So.
Okay, when he watches your show, he'll probably get that.
Yeah,
we're going to give it to
I
him,
hope so.
right. Yeah, right. Okay, so Vivian, how hard was it to convince the Republican Central Committee to vote against this, and what took you so long?
To vote against us? Oh, well.
To take a stand.
Let's just say that the date of the Central Committee meeting kept getting delayed for reasons that are outside my realm of control. And so it was voted on like the day after that you could put a, yeah, that's what I have. Thank you.
Oh, that's what I have too. Thank you.
The day after, I'm sorry, the day after that you could input a statement into the ballot or into the voters pamphlet. And so it was done on September 10th, I believe, that they took the vote. And Central Committee meetings they don't have to happen every month or every quarter. It's just whenever they have to hold 2 of them a year, and that's it. And so they're not required to hold them every year or every month or anything. So it kept getting delayed, and I don't know why, and those reasons I am not privy to, but it got held. But there was one abstention, and only one. The meeting was held down at the Grange, the Fruitdale Grange, and we had a quorum of Central Committee people. And if anyone doesn't understand what a Central Committee person is, it is a precinct committee person who signs up to be that or runs for election to be a precinct committee person. And we are in an area and they have so many men and so many women. I know that's sexist, but they still do it. And like say you have so many people in each precinct, and the number of people determines the number of precinct committee people. There are currently 218 slots available in the city, in the county of Josephine, but only 109 of them are filled.
Wow.
Only half of them. So if you want to be a precinct committee person and make a difference in your county, and you're a Republican, go ahead and run for it. You can file, I think, in the election year with the president. I think that's when it's done. I'm not sure.
Okay. So 2016.
Now we all know that the Republican Party, whether you're a member or not, is the largest and most powerful, let's kind of put quotes around it, a political party in Josephine County. So why would you think that the Daily Courier would refuse to print the fact that the Republican Central Committee took a stand on the property tax, and they've taken a stand on this tax, and you're not going to see a word about it on KJO or in the Courier? Now, why would that be?
No, I think they're biased.
I would think that if the Courier has a problem with the sales tax, which we've heard some rumors that they do, why would they not print something saying, well, hey, look, the Republicans are against this? I would think.
And then to take that to its next logical extension, because that's the kind of show this is, if the movers and shakers in the Republican Party have a problem with the sales tax, why were any of you allowing that procedure to stretch out to such a length that you couldn't even put a notice in the voters pamphlet?
I don't know, but on the brighter side, the Josephine County Republican women took their vote way ahead of time, and we do actually have a statement in the voters pamphlet. So written by myself and with the oversight of Jack Swift Esquire. And he took a look at it and said, yep, good to go. So that will be in the voters pamphlet, and unfortunately the Republican Party didn't make it in time to do it, although there was some regret expressed at that and some consternation as well, but it was too late anyway. So
well, the ratio is pretty nicely stacked in the favor of the no on the sales tax.
Oh, you think? Yes, it certainly is. There were 18 arguments against, 3 for the thing, and one guy that was doing a tongue-in-cheek for that was actually against.
Yeah. So we put out a video about that here, 2-3 weeks ago, and where. Well, actually, it was a Dale and Mike show, wasn't it? And Dale and I and Bill Hunker read every single one of the arguments. So if you don't like to read, you could have us serenade you with our melodic voices.
Oh, what was the date of that? You might want to give people the date of that.
That's a good question. I am ill prepared to tell you that at this particular moment in time, but I can do a little bit of research and be back in about 2 minutes.
Okay, in that 2 minutes, Dale and I can have a conversation while you go research, because I wanted to mention something to Dale that has now completely jumped out of my head. So where did it go? Something about, oh, yes, your June 15th show of this year, which recounts the various and multitudinous criminal activity. They're not criminal activities, but the activities of our Board of Commissioners and how they have undermined our local freedoms and how they have done things that were not really good for the citizens of Josephine County.
You've only seen that on one show. Go ahead.
No, I see it on a lot of shows, but you there cataloged it, and I thought, God, that's such a good show that you need to take that and keep that, and then keep adding to it because, like, I think you've got another whole page full now. You know.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, they have a lot of challenges in front of them, and one of the latest ones that was indicated to the Daily Courier as being a wonderful success is this Food and Friends program, the program about Meals on Wheels, senior citizens eating, being served meals
Food
when they just can't. And it was generally indicated what a wonderful success it was. The reason there was a problem to begin with, and this comes directly from Michael Cavallero, who is the guy that runs the Food and Friends program, they were really surprised because the citizen got up and said, well, the problem is that you're doing this and this and this, and I got an email saying that. They were like, yeah, right, sure, you got an email. Who'd that email come from? Michael Cavallero. And they were like, because he's in charge of Rogue Valley Council of Governments, and he was not a happy camper about all this. And they were, well, it's got nothing to do with us. That's not the Board of Commissioners. That's the head of. Those are the people that run the
Food and Friends. Right,
yeah,
right.
but the problem with saying it's the people that run the 4-H extension, the commissioners do that. There's only 3 commissioners, and there's only 3 running the 4-H extension. They're the exact same people. We can't say that wasn't us; it was us.
Yes, that's dumb.
They do a lot of that, though, don't they?
Oh yeah. Tell us your answer there, Mike. But
September 20th. It was the September 20th Dale and Mike show, and if you go to YouTube and just search Dale Matthews, and then click on videos.
Hey, don't search Dale Matthews. It just feels creepy.
Yes, okay, but that's what you do.
Man.
And then click on videos and go to September 20th, and we will read the voters' pamphlet to you.
All right, now there's 2 different versions. One of them is silent, and the other has us talking on our show. The silent one was I took, it was a lot of work. I took the text from every one of them, and I let it do a silent roll by so that you could stop and read, because some people prefer to read things. And then we also did one where we voiced the entire thing. I got the privilege of voicing the pro side.
The lead. Yes.
Yes.
So Bill and I were yammering on the whole show. It was mostly me, by the way, because Bill started dropping out, and I had to fill in. And then about every 20 minutes, Dale got to pipe up for 3 sentences. It'll be good. It'll be good for Grants Pass. Okay, back to you, Mike.
That's all right. But there are people who prefer various sides. Stop looking at other people. My eyes are up here.
Yes.
That's a sexist joke.
Yes.
I will. I've done it before.
Yeah, I'll do it too.
Yeah, yes.
There are
got to learn how to use that mic switch.
Yeah, well, she's got to learn to pay attention to where she is.
That's the last time we're having this gal on our program.
Man, there's other people here.
Yeah, so what?
There's
Don't
other
they know what
people
you're
here.
doing? Do they know what you're doing? If KTVL was right there with a TV camera in your face doing an interview with it, would they come up and say, "Hey, listen, I need your attention right now"?
They would say,
No.
"You probably should lock up." They
Ah.
would say, "There are yard signs available at Sunshine Natural Foods." They would probably say, "This is
They
the
could
code."
hand you a note for crying out loud.
This
That's
happened.
what I made them do that.
I was interviewing those anti-GMO guys, and the head person, this kind little old lady, walks up and starts engaging her in a conversation while the camera's pointed at her. There's a red light. I'm talking to her. Yeah, well, did I tell you about my little dog? No, but tell me later. Okay, it's the kind of show that we have. So Vivian, you you need to, in my opinion, tell people the bottom line of what they need to know about this grants pass sales tax. Who can vote on this and who can't? This is question number one. Who can vote? Who can't?
The people only within the city limits of Grants Pass can vote. Anybody in the Josephine County, which a majority of the people in the county live outside of the city, they can't vote on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
in other words, the people who are going to be paying this tax have no say in it.
That is correct.
The majority, yes. The second thing is, please tell us, when can you vote? When are we going to receive ballots in the mail, Vivian?
The ballots should be dropped in the mail very soon. Do you know the date, Betty? The 18th. The 18th they're going to be dropped in the mail. And it's the first Tuesday of November. I know that. Always is.
So the deadline for sending in your vote would be before the first Tuesday in November, correct?
Oh, yeah, yes. Or you can drop it by hand in the mail in the vote boxes at each end of the courthouse if you want to that night. I like to drop mine at the last minute, and I went there one night, and I was dropping it in, and there's all this big line of cars around the corner, and this guy said, "Hey, could you put that in there for me?" And oh, sure. So I took it from him. I went over to his car, and I got it, and I dropped it in the box, and he watched me wave thank you, and he took off. And then the next guy, he holds his out the window. So I was there for like 10 minutes, back and forth. You know?
That'll teach you to be a good Samaritan.
Yes. Pardon me, sir. Would you tell me which way you voted?
Right.
Yes,
Okay, so last thing here, Vivian,
Yes.
this is important.
Mm-hmm.
If this sales tax passes, and part two, if this sales tax does not pass, what should we expect? You can take them in any order you like.
Well, I would expect if it passes that many of the people who live in the county areas are used to driving long distances to get their groceries. Many of them have to go to Medford anyway to get certain things that we just don't have here in town. So I would expect they would add everything that they would get in town on their Medford list because they don't have a 2% sales tax. And everybody's pretty cheap around here. I mean, you have to be, to survive. And so they will take their shopping to Medford so they don't have to pay the 2%. I personally go to Medford a couple of times a month and stock up on stuff and put it in my freezer and get my pet food, which is a lavish amount. And so I used to go to the local places here and get it when I was running short, so I didn't have to make the drive. But I won't afford to do that anymore. I would probably have to just pack it all in one and go down there and get it. And everybody says, "Well, what about the gas you spend? You don't want to spend that on the gas." I go anyway. Just add it to the list.
Well, I will add on to that why would we expect because there's a lot of business that comes the other direction. We've heard that from shop owners here that they couldn't exist if they depended only on Grants Pass. Why in the world would someone in Medford or Ashland drive the extra distance to Grants Pass to pay more?
Yeah, that would be kind of silly.
Yeah? Okay. Now, what if it doesn't pass? Then what would you expect?
What I expect if it doesn't pass is that there will be another movement to put another levy on the ballot, and then we'll have things happen that we've been told, oh no, we don't do anything to get back at you for not passing taxes, but we've all seen things that sort of look like they are getting back at us, for not passing the levies.
Yes.
So like when you dial 911, I'm sorry, due to budget cutbacks, there's no one here to answer your call. That was a 911 call I made one night. So I thought, well, that's interesting. So I just loaded my gun. So that's what you have to do when you live in the rural hinterlands. And so you survive. So but I think that they will do that, and they'll also be pushing. I think it'll be a concerted effort between our county commissioners and the city councilmen to talk to talk to Salem and tell them about that one bill that was supposed to be $2 on every $1,000 of assessed valuation to be the minimum property tax in the state. I think that's what they will try to do, and I think that still has to be voted on a ballot. I don't think that they can just push it through.
Right. That's HJR 21, and I expect it's going to be coming up next session because we spoke to Herman Berchiger. He said that they didn't get around to it this session. I suspect it'll be around, the next legislative session.
Right, and
Okay,
the other, there's one more thing. We have time for one more thing?
Yes, of course.
Okay, the one more thing is that we have a bunch of land here that doesn't get taxes paid on it because it's owned by the feds. And so that's the ONC land. And it's about time, they've built their railroad already, for heaven's sakes. We need to have that land transferred back to our state. And there's a lot of other states through, I think it's the American Lands Council that are taking different actions in different states to try and get that land transferred back to the states. And if we owned that land, we could make more intelligent decisions on what to do with it. And indeed, it could be taxed if it were sold to private hands instead of having, miles and miles and miles and miles of trees that you go by that are either burnt or end up in a fire, and we cook up all the poor little spotted owls because nobody wants to manage the land correctly. And so I think that that needs to be gone after by our county council, and I think he needs a budget from our county commissioners to do that.
They're going to need some will first. Okay, so here's a little summary of what's happening with the Dale and Mike Show Inside News. What's going to happen, you need to know that if you intend to write a letter supporting the sales tax or against the sales tax to the courier, you must write it this month, because if you wait till next month, buddy, it's going to be too late.
That's right. It's over.
Your final chance, you can only do it once a month. This is your final chance to write a letter to the editor. And they recently have been very strange about not printing letters, not because they're false, because they just don't like them. They did that to me. They did it to Sandy Casanelli. It's very strange. So, last chance. Now, tomorrow, we're probably going to show our 4 videos that we told you about, and Mike and I are going to play the best from both sides of gun control. Yes, it should be done more. No, it should not be done more. We're going to play those probably tomorrow because things change. I mean, the news changes. We have no control over that, as the city councilors don't have any control over the weather, although I'd like to believe that you will. Then we're going to have Bill Hunker back on again, and he's going to have a few more statistics, just as he did with the property tax, to try to tell us, because I was thinking, I don't think the crime rate's going down. Well, according to the state police, yes it is. According to the U.S. government, yes it is. Which government should we believe? Our local commissioners? Or state government? Or the feds? Or anybody? How about the UN? Who do we believe? Okay, so we'll have more statistics from him. Then we plan on having something about the president's visit to Roseburg. We may be very...
You may very well be there.
Yeah.
Thank you. She's still here. That's good. She's not talking to somebody. That's great. And then I want to do a segment about the imperial attitude among certain commissioners, about all the commissioners, and certain other people that feel that we're all beneath them, and they are, as Rika Brown puts it, are, what does she say, holy commissioners? No, what the holy cow does she say? She says, honorable chosen ones,
yeah, that's
chosen to rule us, rule us. Don't get me started. Okay, and then we're going to have Bree from Bree's Botanicals on again a week after her last one. First time she was on, we let her have her say. We did that with the sheriff, and then the second time around, we're going to be asking her a few tougher questions. I told her that already. She says, okay, I'm ready for it. She seems to be ready for that kind of thing, and we'll see, because we don't let anybody off the hook, as you could see from our talk with Vivian. So, Vivian,
yes.
you don't feel
grilled
like
we
don't feel like you're too toasty here this evening with us, do you? Except for the warm brotherly love that you sense?
Oh, it was all just fine. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. Thank you for being generous with your time. We appreciate you giving us the time instead of only on the telephone. Mike, do you have anything in summary to say there, bud?
Nope.
Okay, so that
I
appears
say vote.
early and often. Okay, That seems to be the end of our show. I seem to be the one to say goodbye to you. Goodbye to you.
Goodbye.